Hello folks, what a beautiful day it has been. It feels so good to be able to be outside. Summer is really hanging on and I am so happy to say that. I love being outside. I love the fresh air. I love the green leaves and the green grass. Yep, it's been a good day. Most of all of us can think about some place in the outdoors that really speaks to the very heart of us. Some of you may enjoy going to the ocean or to the lake or to the mountains. And for me, that place has always seemed to be some place where there are trees, in woods or in forests. That always has spoken to me. And I think probably part of it stems from my dad's love of those places. He grew up on London Road, and they had a home back in the woods. And then dropping down into the bottom, there was woods all along the creek. And oh, he loved being outdoors with all the things that go along with that. He and his brothers even built a log cabin one time down along that creek. Daddy loved being outdoors. He knew every kind of tree and could name them all for you. And I guess maybe that's where that came from for me. Let me show you a couple of the trees that I have in my yard. This is the view of my house that you have coming up our road. You really don't see the house first. You see those two magnificent trees. I have no idea how old they must be, but I'm sure they're ancient. And I'm sure they could tell stories if they could talk like I've never heard before. This is a tree that I'm sure would have many stories as well, if it could tell us what life was like here hundreds of years ago. It's the tallest tree, even taller than the two big pines in my yard. I worry about it every time I mow underneath it, because as trees go, it's probably not the best idea for there to be four trunks, but that's kind of what it looks like. We have 3 big Chinese elm trees in our yard. And one thing they're wonderful for is they're a great home for all these locusts that you can hear. And see the shells up there? Oh, the kids and I have had fun this year collecting those locust shells. And my pride and joy, my ornamental pear tree that Tiffany gave me several years ago for Mother's Day and my birthday. I had never planted a tree, can you believe that? And I was really leery with this one, thinking, will it really live? And it has. And this past spring it was beautiful. Can't wait for next spring. Thanks for letting me give you just a little quick tour there of some of my special tree spots, if you will. When I grew up, we lived on a farm and had a big cedar tree in the yard and peach trees and apple trees and a big maple tree that my sister and I had a swing on. And it was an old rope swing, and Daddy fashioned a wooden seat with a couple notches, and that thing was never very stable. I fell out of it one time on those big roots that are at the bottom of trees after a kid has been swinging and knocked all the dirt off. And I think that's the reason I have arthritis in my tailbone today, was that fall on that tree. But I still love trees. When we moved when I was 12 years old and built a house back in the woods on my dad's family's farm, he had that spot eyed for years. And there are still dogwood trees out in the front ravine, and a buckeye tree in the backyard, just like Daddy had it planned. I like to think that Tiffany and her kids have also kind of developed a love of that kind of woodsy forest feel. She and the kids have been hiking a lot this summer, as have many people been. I saw in the news that over Labor Day they were lined up to get into Brown County State Park a mile down the road. And it's not even fall. It's not even the leaves time. So there's been a real resurgence of that kind of interest because of the pandemic. Anyway, Tiff and the kids go to Southeast Way Park a lot and enjoy the hiking as well as the playground there. And Shelbyville has many wonderful little parks. My favorite is the one down by the fairgrounds. I never remember the name of it. It has a really nice shelter house, and there's a bridge that goes over the creek that runs down along there with a little waterfall, and there are always ducks. You can always feed the ducks, and it's just quite a picture on a beautiful sunny day, gazing down those beautiful creek banks with all that nature. Yep, it's a good thing to get outside and breathe that fresh air. And I'm so grateful we have so many places here in Shelby County that we're able to do that. By far, the most unique and the oldest place to go take in nature is a wonderful, wonderful piece of ground that is tucked in the corn and soybean fields off a small family farm, right off 44 and 421. It's a plot of 48 acres of land that has never been logged or plowed or grazed on or in any way tampered with. It's land that has been totally left untouched since it was purchased as a virgin property, if you will, in 1857 by the Meltzer family. Those of you that are longtime Shelbyville folks know I'm talking about Meltzer's Woods. I must say I had never visited there until today, but Tiffany and the kids went last Sunday and said, "Mom, you really should go over there. As much as you love that kind of scenery, you should go." And what makes this place so very, very special is that it truly is just like it was when the pioneers settled here in Indiana. It's like walking back in time. It smells different. It looks different. And it was a neat experience. And I'm so grateful that that family had someone, I believe his name was Brady Meltzer, was the great-grandfather of Chris Meltzer, the attorney in town that writes The View from My Schwinn. It was his great-grandfather's place, if I've got my story correct. And he always wanted the land to be loved. He didn't want it to be anything except a place they hunted, I guess, there, hunted for rabbits and things. But otherwise, there were no trees taken down. And his boy, Phil Meltzer, developed that very, very same passion. And that area, since it was supposed to be over 400 years old, some of the trees in there, had kind of been watched by the conservationists for some time. I believe they said in 1945, botanical department did a big write-up on how that was such a special place, and thank goodness that there was a family that owned it that realized what a beautiful natural museum that they had. Well, Phil Meltzer wanted it to always stay that way. So in 2016, with Indiana's bicentennial, he deeded that land to the Land Trust of Indiana, and it now is a protected nature preserve right here in Shelby County. There are only, I believe, 11 of these in the state of Indiana. And it's just like it was years and years ago, when 87% of the state of Indiana was covered with forests. And some of those trees were here then. That's just such a cool thing to think about. Anyway, I need to quit talking about it. Oh, I want to tell you one other thing. And Phil Meltzer just passed away last month, August the 8th. And as I was researching for this, I went back and read his obituary. It was so beautifully written. I kind of felt like I knew him a little bit after I read it, for sure. And one thing I want to quote. It says, Philip was often quoted the poet Langston Hughes, who famously said, "Life is for the living." In these days of the coronavirus, the Meltzer family very much wants all of you to remain among the living. If you cannot attend, in the alternative, take a walk in Meltzer Woods, commune with nature, and think of Philip. Well, folks, you know that's what we're going to do. We're going to go visit that very special place, preserved by some very special people. Let's head over to Meltzer's Woods. Well, folks, I have arrived at my destination. This says Central Indiana Land Trust, preserving the heartland. Everything is protected. Open dusk to dawn, no hunting, no fires, no horses, no pets, or pets on leashes only. Do not litter. Supported by the Blue River Foundation. And was a part of celebrating our bicentennial back in 2016. And look here, even social distancing instructions in our nature preserve. Yep, it's hit every aspect of our lives, hasn't it, folk? There's a little place that you can park. It's just a little gravel, see, and a cornfield. And the entrance is over on the other side of the road. Let's take a walk across and see what we can see. It's really quite beautiful. It's quite serene. The sky's blue today. A few white clouds. So peaceful, folks. So peaceful. At the head of the trail, a tree has been, looks to me, struck by lightning maybe, and cut up here at the head. Right here. Meltzer Woods has been designated a registered natural landmark. This site possesses exceptional value as an illustration of the nation's natural heritage and contributes to a better understanding of man's environments. 1974. That was the National Park Service that honored this place all those years ago. It feels a bit heavenly, folks. It says the trail is 1.3 miles. But you don't have to take the whole trail if you come and walk. You can just take a little bit. This is interesting too. Wipe your feet. Please use the boot brush before entering this area. Why? You may be carrying seeds of invasive species in the soles of your shoes. Okay. It feels like a secret, sacred place. It's a beautiful big walnut tree, maple tree. I need my daddy. He could tell me what every one of these were. And when he could hear the birds singing, he could tell me who was making that call. And to think that this is the way it looked in Indiana, at least 87% of Indiana, before it became a state, when it was untouched, before the pioneers made it here. 87% of our state looked like this, like an ancient forest. All of the trees, as they fall, are allowed pretty much to stay where they are. They keep the path clear so that they become home for all the little mushrooms and moss and lichens. It's a nice walk, folks. It's not too bumpy. There are a few tree roots. Oh, look at this little beautiful bridge. Didn't get any rain down here this week either, it doesn't look like. It's cool here. Look at all those trees going across there. A kid's heyday, wouldn't it be? There's a very, very tall tree here that's supposed to be one of the tallest trees in Indiana. And I would love to find it. Look at this one. I'm sure it's not it, but look how unusual these are. That must be what happens to a tree when it becomes ancient. Gets little creaks in it and hitches and looks like it's needs some knee replacement. What do you think? Just a natural deterioration. And that one as well. think I may have spotted that big tree. Let me climb over this one. Look at all that moss. Can you remember as a little kid being amazed at moss? It always felt like velvet. Oh, I know that's not a maple tree, but it's a big tall tree. I think it's another walnut. Yep. Ah, gorgeous. I feel as if I am in an enchanted forest. And I don't even want to talk. I just want to take in the beauty and the nature. There's some leaves falling here today. I don't want to think about it being fall, but it won't be long before that cycle that we have in Indiana starts again. There's another tree just allowed to fall as it may. Allowed to live till a ripe old age until their time is gone. And all kinds of other little trees already starting to grow up to take their place. Hear the birds? There's all kinds of life here. Found one of those big trees. Look at this. Oh my goodness. It's so huge around. Ah, look. Reaches almost to the heavens. Oh, it gives you a whole new respect for those settlers and what they had to endure. Just to clear a place to live. I'm a bit amazed as to how quiet it is. I thought there would be more birds singing. I thought there would be more rustling of critters. But it just feels like a quiet, sacred spot. All these hollowed out trees are homes for all kinds of woodland animals. I bet they all come out at night and play. A smile. I hope you've enjoyed our little laid-back kind of Kathy's Corner today. Our hike through Meltzer's Woods. I hope you take a chance to enjoy this beautiful nature that we've all been gifted with. And I'd like to leave you with a thought, a poem that many of us learned as a child. I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowing breast, a tree that looks at God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray.